do you want to see Cedar Springs grow? Especially in light of a new business.
Dan, if I understand the question to be correct, is how specifically do I want to see the city of Cedar Springs grow in regard to new businesses? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Specifically, I believe it is dynamic to bring in businesses to our city. When you bring a business in, it's almost like a catalyst, it's almost like a boost. If we look through history, look through time, when we've had dynamic gain of solid concrete businesses, and I'm going to use Mr. Ringler as the example since he's in the audience. Mr. Ringler brought a plan to the city to bring in the Cedar Springs Brewing Company. That should do one thing. It should bring additional people into our community to not only shop at his establishment, but also it will complement the other businesses therein. If they come in, they may look across the street and see Mr. Perry's establishment being a tea shop and go over and purchase tea. They may see the Cedar Chest and Cedar's Antiques there for sale and go there. What it does, it will bolster and it will further drive the positive environment that we need to see in our city. All businesses are welcome under my view in the city, as long as they meet the intent and requirements set forth by code and as we have established in the city of Cedar Springs.
Thank you. Next question's for Molly. If you are so interested in city council, why have you not attended any meeting except the meeting pertaining to red flannel issues?
Well, as I previously stated, I don't have a traditional 9-to-5 job. It's only been a very recent development that I will be available Thursday night. So I have been following on the city's website through meetings. I'm sure that the minutes don't give me the full story, which is why for people who find themselves in that situation, I would like to put a video up online for them to be able to review. I have sent correspondence into the city manager and asked him to read it at council meetings. So my absence from city council has not been because I do not care. It has been because I also need to work at a regular job and support my family.
Thank you. Again, one quick reminder for the candidates, we still have the blue card held up. Nobody's run on so far. I just want to remind you the blue card indicates you have 30 seconds remaining. Okay. Pam Conley, is it true that in your last year of sitting, you missed 3 out of 4 budget meetings?
I don't believe that's true.
Okay, thank you.
I don't believe I've ever missed a budget meeting. The last year I was on council, I wasn't on the finance committee. Oh, the budget. Yes, they were purposefully scheduled while I was at Forensic State Finals. Yes. Yes, that is true. Sorry, I was thinking finance committee. I was on the finance committee. Yes, I had a issue with the previous city manager that she would say, this is the day we're going to have it. And I am a debate and forensics coach, and Forensic State Final Regional is that Saturday. And I would say to her, I'm sorry, I have to be coaching. And she would say, I'm sorry, if this is important to you, you would not do your job. So when the new city manager came in, it was moved. So yes, that is true.
Okay, thank you. Next question is for Rose Powell. You say that the city council destroyed red flannel signs and flags. Why aren't you asking the Red Flannel Board to give it back, since they sent the case, sent the cease and desist order that they be taken down?
Well, I'm not on the board, so I'm not in control of what the board does or doesn't do, but I am a citizen. And I do know for a fact that flag was made and dedicated for the people of Cedar Springs, not for the festival. And the other assorted red flannel symbols around the city were made by the council, paid for by the taxpayers, and destroyed. So how can the board say that they were responsible when instead of putting that flag away, or putting that symbol away, or just going back and trying to figure out what we could do about the situation and have a reasonable, rational price on our DPW and police to just destroy it and cover it up and have us pay for it, pay for the things that we already bought.
Thank you. Next question is for Perry. What is the single biggest issue of this election?
Well, in my opinion, after having a conversation with one of the presidents of one of the nonprofit entities in this town, when she tells me that they're specifically looking to take control of the council and they only need one more seat to do that, there's something wrong in Red Flannel when somebody does that. And then also tells me that if they don't get their 4 seats, they may take their festival out of town. There's something even wrong there yet.
Thank you. I want to remind the audience that there are some questions that people had wanted to ask, of several of the candidates, but at the start, we did request that you submit a question to one candidate. And also, at the conclusion of this question time, you will have a chance to personally, face-to-face, talk with the candidates as we enjoy our refreshments. So that will be available for you. Okay, this question is for Patricia. And it says, give us some history I think it's for the Burlington rule. What do you think of this policy? How come we have ignored this policy?
There is no policy. It's not, there's no resolution. The clerk went through every council meeting and every resolution since for the last 36, 40, I don't know how many years, but she had went through all that. Now, Ronnie was on many different boards. He served our community immensely. And that is a school board rule. That's not a city council rule. Every new thing that we vote on is something new that is on the agenda. And this was, this particular item was not a new item. I think it went after 3 years.
Okay, thank you. One here for Pam. What type of economic development strategies do you plan on implementing to encourage new businesses to come here?
Well, we've done some things in the past that have been very effective, such as giving tax abatements to businesses if they are willing to hire a certain number of people. We'll say we'll give you a tax abatement for 5 years, 10 years, if you will guarantee 10 jobs for your business as an expansion, and that's been very effective. I think those are appropriate. I would like to see those continue. Beyond that, we clearly need to fix our infrastructure. It's difficult to ask a business to come here when our roads are falling apart, our sidewalks are falling apart, our water system is, well, it's just amazing. I swear it's held together with duct tape and magic. But we need to fix that. And if we fix those things, then there's a solid underpinning for businesses to come, and beyond that, make it business friendly and say, we will give you tax breaks if you hire people.
Okay, the next question from Mark Fankhauser. Why so many closed meetings right before important votes, i.e. logo issue, city manager pay increase, severance increase, and contract extension?
In response to the issue of closed session or executive session, we rely on the advice and the opinion of the city attorney. And when the city attorney is consulted and he recommends that we can enter into closed session, it's for a couple of purposes. It allows discussion to occur amongst the council to happen. no time can a decision be made inside of a closed session. And no decision has ever been made inside of a closed session. It's been closed, brought back out into the open format. The public's completely welcome, and the decisions are rendered at that point. The Open Meeting Act affords for several different things to enter into, and it's quite a lengthy document, but we always rely on the advice of our legal, because they are the true parliamentarian. I am not aware of any attorney sitting here at this bench that can render the right decision. That's why we rely on the resources of our city attorney.